It's always just a bit awkward doing the same intro every time, and I'm just like, oh man, maybe I should like mix things up and put the intro maybe at the outro or something. Just like change it all around.
It was the problem with making internet content, right? It's like basically our intro is just the equivalent of the opening theme of a TV show. The problem is our opening theme doesn't have like sick lyrics or a bopping soundtrack. It's just, hey, welcome to Wiki Weekend. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that it gets old, folks who watch all these videos, but not everyone's watched every video. It'd be nice if they did, we'd be rich.
You've got to make a video as if it's for everybody, as in like somebody's first video or somebody's 100th video.
It's a fine line to walk, and we don't always manage to stay on that line, but it is innately frustrating where it's just like, hey, stop doing your intro. It's like, well, you're commenting, which means you've seen a video. Well, what about people who aren't you?
Because we also get quite a lot of comments along the lines of like, man, they really don't stick to like the topic at hand, or it takes this long for them to get into the subject. It's like, yeah, so clearly those people have not watched many videos, if any at all.
If you just want to see someone read through a wiki page and pretend not to be at the internet historians right there. Remember that? Remember when like Wiki Weekends first launched? When you just ripped this off Internet Historian? It's like, no, we just read you from a wiki page. If their work sounds like someone reading from a wiki page,
so at least we're honest about just reading straight from a wiki, right?
Yes.
Because of course, this is Wiki Weekends, where we wind up a wiki, we take a deep dive, and we keep swimming until we find something fun to talk about. I'm your host for this episode, Lucas Holland, and as always, I'm joined by the lovely Karl Smallwood.
Yes, and there's a fly in my room, so if at some point during the video you go, "Huh!" because a fly touched my ear and I'm not happy about it.
I'd be impressed because you're wearing headphones, so if it gets to your ear, it's
well,
like in
there. Scared. You're not seeing the size of this fly, mate. you ever seen like Jurassic Park? Where there was like there's pterodons and there's pterodactyls coming in.
Isn't it a story of like that woman was like, I want to be killed in like the most gruesome way or something?
I think this is one of those things where I've never seen it confirmed, but the story is that the lady who gets horribly killed in Jurassic World, because it's really weird how like she gets the most violent death of anyone in the entire series, and she's just a random person who's realistically that should have been Bryce Dallas Howard who got killed like that, right?
If they didn't want to use her for 18 more sequels, yeah.
Because she's actually the one who causes the problems. So a lot of criticism is levied against like Colin Trevorrow of like it's really kind of bad how like a woman who didn't do anything wrong gets the worst death. And since then there's a recurring rumour that was supposed to be an extra who died like that, and that lady asked for the death instead, but I've never seen any interview with that lady confirming it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It is just one of those weird stories that somehow cropped up, and it might just be some person online made up the stories to cope with how gruesome her death is for no reason.
Do you know what it is? It really feels like one of those things that someone said in a TikTok video, and that's became, I read it in... When someone says I read it in an article, that means they saw it in a TikTok video.
And that means that the person who made the TikTok video read a headline for an article without reading the article.
Yeah, or just made shit up.
Or just did that, yeah, true. We're not talking about Jurassic World, and I don't know how we got onto that subject, but it doesn't matter, because we are talking today, Karl, about a video game.
Okay, and which video game is that? Is it one of the Jurassic Park games?
It's not a Jurassic Park game, but I kind of wish there was dinosaurs in this now. I wish there was a dinosaur expansion pack for this game, Karl. When I say the words expansion pack, Karl, what game do you think of? This is maybe the game with the most amount of expansions.
Is it The Sims?
It is The Sims.
It's The Sims! Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just thinking like, it's either going to be The Sims or some game I've never fucking heard of, right?
As far as I'm aware, The Sims, and more specifically like The Sims 4 maybe, but I'm not sure we'll get into it. But The Sims is just got an astronomical amount of like expansion packs and extras and all these things that EA are just like, yeah, keep milking these players, just keep going.
The Sims is a great game, and fortunately, anyone who plays The Sims will tell you, like, there's mods.
Yeah.
Just, do you want your Sims to rock up wearing, like, a full Adidas crushed velvet shell suit? There's a mod.
There is.
Do you want to bone Darth Vader? There's a mod. Do you want your Sims to have penises? There's a mod.
Sims don't have penises?
Well, they have like the weird, like flat, like Barbie bodies, right?
Oh, do they? Right.
They have like you can have like male and female Sims, and in later games you can have Sims who are non-binary, but they don't have any perceivable genitals. You can mod that in. Mod in some genitals.
Yeah, because I've never played the game with mods, so I've always just seen, the pixel bodies. I've never done anything that makes them nude or anything specifically, so I didn't realise that there was, like, no genitals coded in or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can mod all these things, as we say, but I'm always a console player, and I've never really... There's been times where, like, I think it's like Sims 2 I got on PC when it was on offer, but I never really particularly have, like, a strong gaming PC or anything, so I've never played Sims much on PC, unfortunately, and haven't had that ability.
What did you play, then?
I did, for a long time, play The Sims Busting Out on GameCube.
Do you know what I played? That's even more obscure. I played The Sims Herbs on the DS.
Oh, on the DS!
I played the Herbs.
On the DS, of all things.
DS. Did some checking as well, and I can't seem to find anything that confirms that the actress who played Zara, the character is Zara, the actress is Katie McGrath. I can't find anything from her confirming that she wanted to die. There's a behind-the-scenes clip of her dying, of her doing the stunts, and she's excited to do it.
I'm about to die in like a very cool way. They're gonna pull me up on that crane, straight up in the air. There's like 8 people around me. It's so that I don't really die, because that's a possibility. My mom would be upset.
And then it's just a bunch of unsourced quotes on like TV tropes and stuff saying the actress herself requested it, and I can't find any clip of her saying that, so I thought I'd double check.
Fair enough, the fact-checking Carl just coming in there, but it does kind of maybe lean down that route, right, of I can see how a behind-the-scenes clip of her being like, oh, I'm really excited to do the stunt, then becomes a story of like, oh no, I actually really wanted to do it. Yeah.
And I think it's two things that have been combined. There's also a storyboard that was going to be a random character died in that way. And like the story, because I checked like what the story is like, oh no, the actress wanted that to be her death. And it's like, no, it's that was in the storyboards, and then just halfway through filming they just made it her death. And the closest I've got to the actress acknowledging it is just her on Instagram being like, do you think it was kind of a brutal death? And it's her sharing the clip.
Oh.
No comment on whether or not she specifically... Because you think you would, right, at that point. You think you'd know that you specifically requested it? No.
The Sims is a series of life simulation video games developed by Maxis and published by Electronic Arts. And we're all talking about The Sims as just a franchise here.
Yes.
The franchise has sold nearly 200 million copies worldwide and is one of the best-selling video game series of all time. It is also part of the larger Sim series started by SimCity in 1989.
Genius idea. I recently did a fact theme video with a friend of the channel, Najela, who is like one of like the most knowledgeable people about The Sims and also a human rights advocate. That's why I brought them on to talk about The Sims. I'm like, hey, do you want to talk about your human rights work? And now talk about The Sims. Let's go.
I like the idea, though, that human rights, but then what do they do with their Sims? Like, do they treat their Sims with human rights?
Well, have you ever seen that? There's that legendary... See, I'm going to actually credit the tweet. It's a tweet. And it's that guy who's like, girls will talk about, like, being more caring than men. I saw you making a ghetto in Animal Crossing. One of the things that Najela told me about is a game people who play The Sims play where you get an ugly sim and see how quickly you can breathe out the ugly.
Oh my god.
So you make an intentionally fuck ugly sim and then make them as unattractive as possible as a challenge and then see how quickly you can get a sim that looks quote unquote normal.
Oh my god. The Sims is kind of a weird game in the sense that there are no real goals other than if you would like to get a job and progress in a career, you can, but it's not like there's no way to quote-unquote win. So it's just this fascinating game for people making their own games within a game.
Yes, that's one of the things I love about The Sims and SimCity as well. Like, they give you all the tools, and as you say in The Sims, there's no end goal. But people create their own goals, and that's why some people like it, some people don't. Some people don't like that there's not a definitive thing that you can do to win. But other people like the creativity and freedom afforded to them. Like I said, they create challenge runs of, can I get my fuck ugly sim laid? Or like there's people who do like challenge runs of like trying to sleep with 100 other Sims, or they'll try and like become a millionaire, or they'll try and like build a perfect house, or they'll start with no money, or okay, can I somehow have a house like 18 Sims and somehow get them all jobs?
And I can't remember whether it was you that was either saying that this is how you played the game, or saw someone else play the game this way of like, put everyone in a basement with an empty room and they come out and compete in like challenges to earn things for their little prison cells.
That's the famous one, yeah. Someone made like Squid Games in The Sims. There's also the legendary Paint Goblin.
The Paint Goblin?
And the gist of it is, every time I make a new Sims family, I'll add a member of their family who I just call the Paint Goblin, and I give them the same traits of likes to be alone, hates outside, loves to paint. And then I build a basement house for them that has everything they need and an easel. And after a while, because all they'll do is paint, those paintings become worth a lot of money. And then what I do is upstairs, I have the real family, and just every now and again I go downstairs and check on the Paint Goblin, sell their painting, and just my family gets some free money every now and again. And again, that's the kind of thing where there's so much creativity afforded to you. That's one of the things that The Sims allows. Mm-hmm. So like when I made a city in SimCity, that's just dick and balls. I just made a dick and balls city to see if I could.
Found it fascinating watching a video of like, oh, what happens if I just make a SimCity where the city is just one big spiral?
Just to see how long it takes people to get to work, right?
Yeah.
It's great. There's the other guy, this guy who made a SimCity where it's one person lives there. So he basically he glitched it so there's only one person lives in the city, and it's like the guy's like, what would a person who has a city to themselves do? And the guy got a job working at the waste management centre. So every day he'd drive there, drop his own rubbish off, wait 8 hours and drive home. You mentioned Animal Crossing, of like people just making ghettos in Animal Crossing, right? Didn't you just have the thing of you had the Animal Crossing island that no one liked go around your entire family like a fucking cold?
Yeah, little Rodney. Every time just Rodney the hamster shows up at a new island and like the group chat's like, oh god, no, he's here.
Rodney's back. That's the beauty of like, you know, these simulation games. Is there any fun stories you've got from them? Because I guess I've got the most famous one, literally, the roller coaster tycoon thing. So put the picture on screen right now of this roller coaster tycoon joke, which yes, I know you can't do in roller coaster tycoon. It was a joke I wrote when I was doing stand-up, and the idea was of it sounds enough like something you think you can do in roller coaster tycoon.
It works as a joke, and you just stretching the truth a little bit.
Yes, because enough people, when they hear it, think they half remember enough about Roller Coaster Tycoon for it to sound like something you can do. Things I actually would do in Roller Coaster Tycoon is like, the classic is just naming all the rides after my penis. Oh, Carl's penis looks too intense for me.
What's the meme of like Mr. Bones' Wild Ride?
Oh, Mr. Bones. Okay, so Mr. Bones' Wild Ride is, again, put the picture on screen to credit the person. I think it was an anonymous person on 4chan who did it, but they basically created a roller coaster that just made it as long as possible, and it took 4 years of in-game time to go around the roller coaster, and all the way along the thing it's called Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, and just the signs keep saying the ride never ends. And there's just this screenshot they got, and everyone on the ride is like, I want to get off Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. But the detail that is fucking genius is when you get off the ride after 4 years of in-game time, the exit leads to the entrance.
Yeah.
Because, Lucas, the ride never ends.
You can never get off Mr. Bones' Wild Ride.
And that's the game. You wouldn't get that in a more traditionally structured game.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of these games, right? Is that, okay, yeah, if you want a game where you've got goals, there's plenty of games where you've got goals and you can go do that. It's like in Animal Crossing where people kind of see the end game of like, get a 5-star island and then you're done. Because a lot of people really struggle with a lack of a defined goal. But
yes,
it also leads to these amazing stories of people just because they've got like no actual outlet, they've just got to be creative with it and figure out their own fun.
No, so I remember when you told me that you went to your girlfriend's island and was putting down like the fake paintings or something, right?
Oh yeah, I'd seen somebody go like, oh hey, I've made a little pattern of what the pitfall looks like in Animal Crossing. Here's the download code. So then just one night, I grabbed a Switch and turned on multiplayer. Just went over to our island and just started painting fake pitfalls on the ground. And just days later, I just walk into the living room and hear like, oh! And I'm like, what's going on? It's like, I can't dig up this spot.
Because it's like, oh, it makes your island look dirty or there's an item underneath, right? So you think you can dig there.
Mm-hmm. You can't dig on a pattern. You can just easily swipe it away, but because you think it's a pitfall or like an item or whatever, you don't assume that you can wipe it away, so you try dig it.
Yeah, it's the digital equivalent of that classic of screenshotting someone's home screen on the PC and making it their background and then removing all of their things that they can click, right?
And yeah, I did it sporadically enough where I left like across the entire island, like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, so if you do too many, it becomes obvious, right?
So there were some real ones that she was walking up and going, well, some of the holes that I'm digging up work, and they've got like things in them, and then I'm going up to other ones and I can't dig on them. I don't understand what's happening. There is a minor little difference where you can see like a bit of a sheen on it, but if you're not looking for it, you won't notice.
Is it if you don't know it's there? And it's just that thing of she just thought a game had glitched, right? And it's you being like...
And then to clarify, I did make up for it. This was like when the game first came out, and for us it was springtime. And she wanted a load of the mushroom furniture that you can only get in autumn. So I went and did like black market Nook Miles ticket trading with people for like exclusive mushroom furniture and brought it all over to Ireland as a gift to just be like, I'm really sorry.
The one that cracked me up is like during the pandemic of all the celebrities playing it, and there's like a great screenshot of like T-Pain where he gave his missus like 8 billion bells, like I treat my girl right in any universe.
Or the one where like Elijah Wood just popped up on someone's game like, hey, can I just come and get your like good turnip price? Just like someone on Twitter posting like, oh man, I've got like turnips that are selling for 500 bells or whatever. And Elijah Wood just pops up like, can I come over?
Just the idea of Elijah Wood being outside your house and like, can I come into your house? That's the beauty of these games, right? Not everyone finds fulfillment in that.
No,
they want a defined goal.
And that's why so many people do come up with crazy little mini games to give themselves their own goals, and that's why a lot of people as well just see the end game of, you know, the true capitalist fashion of get as high up in my career path as I can.
Yeah, so I think like in regards to Animal Crossing, I still remember that picture that fucking cracks me the hell up. It's someone who just made like the creepiest house, and it's just a single chair facing the wall and a box of tissues right in the middle of the floor. And then like the picture of like Sakurai or something on the wall in a little painting. Because that thing you can do is that you can make people weird. People did that in Pokemon, right? Of the when you can make secret bases, they'd make like the most obnoxious secret base imaginable.
I also just love the idea of like having custom patterns, and that's something that The Sims 4 allows you to do, right? Of like just put your own custom patterns on like furniture and things, and then people just manage to get really creative with all that stuff. It's great.
When I play The Sims, like one of the ways I would like maximize my earning potential is when you buy a house, you buy a lot, right?
Of course, yeah.
They expect you to build a house on it. It's like, well, that costs money. So instead what I did is I just put a bed on the lawn. Just put a bed on the lawn. It's cheaper, right?
We've got to just shout out, I guess, all those people out there that buy a lot, buy a garden gnome, quote unquote, you know, exclamation point motherload, and just build the dream house, and then like, cool, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
some people find enjoyment building the houses, some people find enjoyment building Sims that look like them. Because that's the thing, I know people who, they play the Sims just to build the houses, and then they not play the game. They just build the house. And that's what they enjoy doing.
Because so many people just do that, right? Of like, all they do is they make the family, they build the house, and then it's like, cool, I'm done. I Simsed.
Did you see as well, like, you know, it's not The Sims, but it's a similar type game of City Skylines? So City Skylines, it tries to be really realistic.
Yeah. It's very SimCity-esque game, right?
Yeah.
Of like, I'm going to do SimCity, but make it not the shitty, like, recent SimCity that EA made.
So one of the things that they did is they put in a bunch of like systems to more accurately replicate real life, but by as accurately as possible replicating real life, they replicated some of real life issues. For example, in that game you had landlords, And the problem is that the landlord AI would try and maximize profit, just like real landlords, to the point where if you built a big enough city, you couldn't get people to move there because rent would be too high.
Oh, no.
So the makers had to release an update that just deleted landlords from the game. Because they realised the only way to solve the issue of high rent is to just let everyone own their own house.
So what you're saying, Carl, is that landlords are a poison and a blight on our system, and we should obliterate them.
I'm going to send you the link now. You don't have to read it, but you can put like a screenshot in of like the pertinent part of the story if they just remove landlords from the game.
And to any angry landlords out there watching this going, no, we contribute. It's, no, you don't. You don't contribute anything. Go use your money to actually give something back to society to earn your money. Don't just don't be a leech. Don't be a fucking leech. Anyway, going back to The Sims, Carl.
Yes.
We'll go on to the game development here, where the game designer, Will Wright, was inspired to create a virtual dollhouse after losing his home during the Oakland firestorm of 1991 and subsequently rebuilding his life. Replacing his home and his other possessions made him think about adapting that life experience into a game. When Wright initially took his ideas to the Maxis board of directors, they were skeptical and gave little support or financing for the game. Fools. And the director of Electronic Arts, which bought Maxis in 1999, were more than receptive. SimCity had been a great successor for them, and they foresaw the possibility of building a strong Sim franchise. Who the fuck is sitting there going like, yeah, this SimCity guy's great, but I don't trust him to build anything else?
Yeah. So he made SimCity, which is great, and it's made us a lot of money, but who would want to go into an even more granular level of control? It's like, have you met people who play video games? They want nothing but control.
And just people in general, because when I think of games that kind of reach outside of the regular kind of gaming sphere, one of the first games I think of is The Sims.
The Sims or Animal Crossing. It's usually, and people say, oh, they're more casual gamers. If you try playing Animal Crossing, or have you met someone who plays Animal Crossing? Like your girlfriend who's got more hours in Animal Crossing than you've got in Destiny.
I mean, that's hyperbolic. That's not
it's close, 100% though, right?
True, but she does have 600 hours in Animal Crossing. There is nothing casual about that.
It's like you need a degree to play SimCity.
Yeah, and it is weird that just obviously gatekeepy assholes are like, well, the people who just play The Sims are not real gamers. It's like, sorry, person that just plays Madden, just absolutely go fuck yourself. My dogs are agreeing to just be they're just barking along with me.
It's also as well, there is the RPG elements in those games.
Mm-hmm. I've never sat here and thought to myself, playing The Sims, go, well, I know I'm currently not playing a real game. No. There's just different types of experiences, and people that define one as being more of a game than the other are just fucking idiots.
Yeah. So speaking of The Sims, because there's so much can happen. Mm-hmm. So much random stuff can occur. And, you must have just seen, all the random stuff that can happen to your Sims.
In what sense?
You can, romance the Grim Reaper and stuff like that. There's, the Sims patch notes where people were trying to get out of being killed by the Grim Reaper by trying to romance him. And they'd have to, patch out that. Or there was, meteor strikes could hit children when they were in school and they weren't allowed to leave school, so the meteor had to just kill your kids.
That's so rough. I didn't even realise there was, meteor strikes and stuff in The Sims.
It gets fucking wild.
That's the thing is, I've always played, a very vanilla experience of The Sims where, again, I normally played on, the console versions, and I haven't had mods, and, I generally don't buy all the expansion packs, because I just want to, make sure that EA get that message of, well, I'm not going to support this business model of you releasing everything from The Sims 2 again in The Sims 3, but as expansion packs and all this shit. Every time it's just the same story with The Sims of well, The Sims 2 got updated with a bunch of cool stuff. Okay, cool. The Sims 3's coming out and we're ripping out everything.
So we can release it on update packs again. And that's normally when Sims players, they'll just say, when the game's released, just give it a month and it'll all be modded back in.
Yeah. Sims 4 is the exact same. Took a bunch of stuff out of Sims 3 and put it back, and it's you would think a normal game, all these update packs happen and they were DLC in one game and then the sequel would include them, but that's not how The Sims likes to do things, of course. And
No.
it's very funny because it says here that Wright has stated that The Sims was meant as a satire of US consumer culture. Wright took ideas from the 1977 architecture and urban design book on pattern language, American psychologist Abraham Maslow's 1943 paper, A Theory of Human Motivation and Its Hierarchy of Needs, and Charles Hampton Turner's Map of the Mind to develop a model for the game's artificial intelligence. And it's just, I love the idea that it's like all this thought is put in of like, oh, it's meant to be like a satire of consumer culture, and all of these like sim elements are put in to like know what all like the thoughts and needs are of these sims and how you should rank them and stuff. And then it's like EA just going, yeah, but give us those update packs, give us those expansions.
Never underestimate the ability of capitalism to turn anything into an avenue for profit, including criticisms of itself.
Yeah.
Let the game begin.
One of the things that's a critical stat for your Sims to maintain is the nebulously defined room. It's like there's hunger, there's energy, there's like, you know, your ability to sleep, like social interaction, then room. What's room? It's like, well, if your house is a shit tip, your Sim will be depressed and cry all the time.
Yeah, but if your house is clean and filled with lots of expensive items, then you'll be happy, Carl.
Yep, because that's one of the things as well of like just. I think they even joke about it when you buy, because the descriptions in Sims are what like make its sense of humour more obvious. Of like when you buy like really expensive things, it'll say like doesn't do anything, but looking at it makes your Sim feel better.
And a lot of like the naming of the items and things are satirical as well. Yeah, even though it's like quite on the surface of like literally just the names and descriptions of items you're buying, which is happening constantly throughout the game, is still like easy enough, I guess, for people to miss, because a lot of people just are too busy like worrying about what the, you know, next shiny thing to put in your house is, rather than necessarily reading the descriptions. Yeah,
it's like, are you familiar at all with the film THX 1138?
I don't think I am, no.
So that's one of like the earlier films of George Lucas, and it's really funny that it's George Lucas who made it, because one of the plot points in the film is that people will buy random coloured objects and then immediately dispose of them, just so they can enjoy the feeling of having paid for something.
Right.
And think like George Lucas put that in one of his films and then got the merchandising rights for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But like a plot point is that people will just buy random coloured objects and immediately dispose of them.
Just speaking of that and Star Wars and stuff, like I saw like the glup shito happen in real life.
Glup shit.
Of like, do you know that random tweet? I'll try and find like the person credited for it, and again just put the tweet on screen. The joke is just, oh, Star Wars fans will be like, oh man, I can't believe like Glup Shito's returning to Star Wars. There was one of them, like, I saw a tweet today and it was a genuine tweet of like, this random alien I've never seen is going to return in like Mandalorian and Grogu.
But it's like, what is it in that fucking Acolyte show? The dick-headed Jedi reappeared and his dick head smaller.
What, Coyote-Mundi?
Yeah, the guy. I think if you just search dick-headed Jedi, he's the one who shows up. The one with the big fucking weird head.
But yeah, it's just very funny that, yeah, people will literally get excited by random character that was just made so that they can merchandise the fuck out of it.
Yeah, so they can point it and say, I know this.
Yeah.
It's for those people. And that's the thing, that's what George Lucas has, it's his second feature movie after American Graffiti. It directly criticises that behaviour of like people buying things to feel happy.
The money in your eyes, Carl. Just, they come in, you see it, and it's like those merchandising rights, they creep in and they replace your soul. It's so funny to think like, oh yeah, The Sims is a critique on capitalist culture. And just, oh, The Sims 1 received 7 expansion packs. The Sims 2 received 8 expansion packs. The Sims 3 received 11 expansion packs. The Sims 4 has received 16 expansion packs and 12 game packs.
Oh, I still think one of the funniest things that ever happened to me in the fucking Sims, I've talked about this before, of like, I built a house and I was like, I didn't want to pay for a burglar alarm. So what I do every night is I would like move my doors inside so the burglar wouldn't get in. Because like, you can just move shit around. So I'd move my doors to the inside so my burglar, and the burglar came around once and stole my window. And I was like, That is such a good burglar, right? He stole my window, Lucas. The worst bit is, though, he bricks it back up as well. Which means there was a hole in the side of my house, but then he bricked it back up. He did it for the insult. He stole my window for the insult.
Oh, I love that kind of game logic of like, well, what is your program? My program is to steal something.
Steal the most valuable objects I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
It's like once you can have, like, if you don't pay your bills, you'll get a repo man come around, and the repo man came around once and took my stairs. Because I bought a really fancy staircase, because that would give your Sims like a good room thing. So no matter where they were in the house, they'd have a high room rating. So it was like a $3,000 staircase. It's like, he trapped one of my Sims upstairs. Like, he nicked my stairs, Lucas.
Just the repo man laughing as he rips your room away from you, like...
He took my stairs. My kids were upstairs. What was that? We were just trapped. What do I do?
And that's when, like, you've got no money to get new stairs, your baby's stuck in a crib crying upstairs, and then the Child Protective Services come in.
Oh yeah, I love as well if you like try and break the game's own logic by like blocking the door to stop people getting in. The child protection woman just teleports into your house. And there's like all those... I remember once my house was on fire. She came up and went, "You're not looking after that baby very good." Teleported into the fire, grabbed the baby out of my burning Sim's arms and teleported away. It's like, well, thanks for helping me. And so the last thing that happened before my Sim died is like a woman criticising them for not rescuing their baby from the fire.
Just teleporting in, talking shit, stealing baby and leaves.
It's so funny.
And that's just one of the things I love most about The Sims is like the random weird stories that people get into, just like the Child Protective Services teleporting in and stealing your baby from a fire. That's maybe the call for action on this one, isn't it, Carl? You know,
tell us your best Sim stories.
Peel behind the curtain a little bit. Just like, let us know in the comments of just what dumb, stupid thing happened to you in your Sims, and like, did you even have a family? Did you even build a house? Like, how far did you even get before you just typed motherload and decided to end it all?
I've got so many. Like, the one for me was I downloaded the Sims Pets expansion pack, and what I didn't realise is I didn't have a pet, but my neighbours did, and all the cats would do is all their neighbours' cats and dogs would walk onto my lawn and shit everywhere. So when my Sim walked outside, because there's so many dog poos and wheeze, their room would crater. So no matter how happy they were, every time they left the house, their mood would crater, so they couldn't get promoted at work. They were at risk of getting fired, and there was no way to physically clean up the poo because there was just so many cats and dogs. So I had to build a corridor from my front door to the end of the drive where the car that picked up to work would appear, and I had to line it with paintings to avoid their room going down, and they had to sprint to the car every morning.
That's like going full capitalism mode, isn't it? Of like, you go to work, you get home, you walk down your corridor filled with happy items, go to bed, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
Just ignore the shit everywhere.
Because if they went outside, their mood would crater because the neighbour cats and dogs would just piss and shit everywhere.
On my most recent playthrough of The Sims, like when Sims 4 went free to play, I just decided to make a character. Their entire purpose in life was to just piss off everyone around them. I just went full chaos mode, so all that happened is every time I wasn't in direct control of them, they would just walk outside and insult every single person that walked past them on the street, to the point where like they just got in fistfights with old men on the road, like...
So you just made just a Weatherspoons customer in The Sims.
It was just every single time I wasn't telling her specifically what to do, because I did have like 2 or 3 people in the family. She would just run out onto the streets and just start hurling insults at anyone she could find. I just every time I'm like, no, get back in the house. Like, start just doing some like creative work or something. Get your anger out, and she just sprints back into the streets to tell someone that like they love the husband.
It's like, I remember where like in The Sims 1 you can make a family of just a child. So I made like Macaulay Culkin, I made Kevin McAllister. It's like, how long can I survive for? And it got to the point I ran out of money. I was selling like carpet to buy pizzas. And I was like inviting neighbours. Like, basically it ended up with just like I had to sell the walls and the carpets to afford to order a pizza. And then I remember my neighbour came round and picked up the pizza and walked off, and it's like, what?
stealing from this child that's literally got to sell the house for food.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to, like, earn money as a kid, right? Because you can't have a job.
And I was like, how long can I last? Like, they can paint, but I think you can sell the paintings, but that would make them in a bad mood. I remember because I made the kid, like, paranoid about everything. They wouldn't sleep because I had the pet mod installed. So what they do is, at night, they would be so annoyed that there was all the cat piss outside, and they'd go out at 3 a.m. and try and mop up the never-ending stream of cat piss. Until eventually just the house burnt down because they were so tired. I tried to cheer them up with an indoor fireworks display and it did not go well.
Can't remember what footballer it was that like nearly set their house on fire by having a balcony fireworks show from the bathroom.
Oh god, yeah.
I want to say it was Mario Balotelli because it's always fucking...
It might have been Mario Balotelli. He's got one of my favourite quotes from a footballer when he got pulled over driving with like 25 grand in cash on his car seat, and they asked him why he got that much money. He went, because I'm rich.
When that's like your daily wage, well, okay, well, you know, my equivalent of like, oh, well, I had 20 quid on the seat or whatever, you know. Yeah. That's what it is to him. I was like, why have you got 50 grand on your chair, on your car? It's like, because that's nothing to me. Yeah.
It's like, I'm in The Sims as well, when like sometimes when the burglars in your house and I called the police. And I called the police, he came into my house and ate my pizza. So you fuck, like, prick ass, like the police just nicking my pizza and he didn't arrest the guy. The burglar got away with it. The police officer, really realistic, came into my house, didn't do anything, and nicked my shit.
I still think some of my favourite parts are just when, like, the meltdown that happens when a fire occurs. You'll go in, and you'll, like, click on the thing and be like, okay, fire extinguisher, extinguish fire. And they'll run over, see the fire, panic, drop the fire extinguisher, piss on the floor, and burn alive. It's like, I told you had a fire extinguisher.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the one that I did where just to see what would happen, I put a moat around my house. So like my sim had to swim. I made it specifically so if they wanted to get to work, they had to do a full loop of the house. Just to be a dick. So they had to do a full loop of the house. And eventually on the way home from work, one day they just drowned. Because they were too knackered from work to swim back to the house and get food, so they just drowned. That's why The Sims is great, because you won't get that in the game.
There's just so much going into the game where it's just the right level of simulation, but with wackiness and just dumb lack of rules that just you can do whatever you want, but there is that like slight little bit of logic there where it does make sense of like, if you were tired after a day of work and you tried to swim through a moat back home, you might like get too tired.
And that's the thing, it's like when you see how the logic of the game plays out in real time, like, it makes sense to the game, but it doesn't see. It's like if you try and do pathing, it's like, is that really the most efficient route? And it's like, according to the game, it is.
If these games were too realistic, they wouldn't be as fun in my eyes.
Well, that's why you have city skylines. That's to delete landlords.
Yeah, exactly. That might just be the most poetic way to end this. Of just that's what we need to do to the world, Carl. Just delete the landlords.
It worked as well. It's the only way. The thing is, they couldn't think of a solution that wouldn't make landlords always try and rip people off because they were because the landlords are programmed. If your Sims or your whatever the Sim equivalent is in City Skylines, and if they could earn enough money to raise rent, landlords would just immediately second one raise rent. So there was never any way for the city to progress past a certain point because no matter how rich your little guys got, the landlords will just immediately jack up their rent second one.
The moment everyone in the city starts making more money, the landlords are like, no, you don't earn any more money because now we can afford to raise our prices.
Yeah.
And it just gets caught in like that deadly loop of like, yeah, but then you earn more money, but then the landlords get charged more.
And they just deleted them from the game because it was easier. It was easier than trying to figure it out.
If you want to help pay our rent, then go and support us on Patreon. If you want to like help us, just pay off our landlords. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's the classic one though, isn't it? Of like, oh man, video games let you experience like wild fantasies that you can never achieve in real life, like owning your own house, having a wife and kids. I also like as well where The Sims was accidentally super progressive because by default all Sims were bisexual. Because it was easier than programming Sims to have specific sexual tastes. So just by default, any Sim could romance any other Sim.
Also shout out to now the very intentional level of detail that they put into the customization of people and all of the different options they have for being, I should say, like non-binary or asexual and things like this, and you get to pick like whether you're a person that can have children or not. And I'm forgetting all of the options, but I remember when I went onto the Sims forum, saw the level of granularity you can go into. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
But it's also really simple as well. Because, like, for example, with the gender one, they just ask you a very simple question: do you stand up or sit down to go to the bathroom? Is that like? And then when it comes to like, the romance thing, it's like, what is your sim interested in male sims, female sims? They're not interested in pursuing a romantic relationship.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Just a series of like 5 questions allows you to set it up, and people got really mad at that. And it's like the kind of guys who got mad at it are not the kind of guys playing The Sims. The people who are mad hype for that are the people who've been playing The Sims for 2 decades and would mod that shit in second one if it wasn't there.
They've done a good job with The Sims of listening to the community and getting the feedback and putting those into the game. The issue being, they might just charge you out the nose for it in expansion packs.
To be fair, imagine the balls to charge people for different sexualities in The Sims.
Oh man, the Pride pack.
Yeah, mate, being gay DLC. Gay DLC.
I'm really surprised they never tried it.
That'd be so good.
No, it wouldn't be, but like...
No, I think it'd be good, because it'd be so fucking funny to see the headlines.
Yeah, that's the thing. It would be so funny to see them try and like just fuck around and find out. It would be very funny.
Mate being gay DLC.
No, don't do it. I'm not putting that as the title of this episode, Cal.
Mate being gay DLC.
I'm not taking the bait.
The idea of like, what can EA monetize next?
EA are the same people that have sold the same game of FIFA for like 7 years on the bounce on Switch now, so they will try everything. And if people are unaware, they charge full price every year, or used to at very least, for like FIFA games. I know that FIFA's no longer, it's like EA Sports FC or whatever. Terrible name, but yeah, every single year it'd be the exact same game on Switch, but they just updated the kits and players and stuff, and that would be a full price new game every single year. Because fuck EA.
And Lucas, before you go, would you like to see what a seagull looks like in The Sims?
If seagulls in Sims?
Yeah, in like the beach expansion pack.
Oh god,
see
of
a
course,
seagull?
it's an expansion pack. The question is it as obese as a Scouse one? Oh wow,
That's a seagull, alright.
That's some high-res seagull right there.
Do you know what, as well? People have done, like, released mods so you can have a more high-quality seagull. But they've also released mods that make it look worse. The duality of man.
Oh, it reminds me of the Spider-Man boat people. The Spider-Man boat people was kind of annoyed when they upgraded them in Spider-Man 2. I was like, I miss the weird little low-res versions of the boat people.
There we go, yeah. That's his thumbnail right there.
That can't be the thumbnail.
People who know, they fucking know, mate.
Thank you all for watching, and here's a low-res seagull for you all to enjoy before we leave. Thank you, everyone.